I think going to the White House, going to DC, it just kind of reminded me of like, yeah, can't just talk about it, you gotta be about it, girl. Cause let's talk about this while I pop and separate my locks. If the audio is a little wonky, sorry in advance. It shouldn't be though, it's 32-bit flow, so we should be good. So I have semi-freeform locks, and I usually begin by parting my hair down the middle. Bonus points if y'all can see my one gray hair, because when I part my hair down the middle, you can see it. And I have this one gray hair, and she just be hanging out. She can't decide which lock she wants to be in. I'll put her in one, and then she's like, just kidding, I wanna be in another one. It's very adorable. She's like a little peekaboo gray. I love her. And I'm also gonna use a little bit of aloe vera on my locks. I don't even know what brand this is. I got it at H Mart, but like not a lot, just like a little bit. Unlike oils and whatnot, like I know people like to put a lot of oils on their scalp. I usually don't. I usually try to really minimize that. Also, having too much oils on your hair, I find can lead to a lot of buildup in locks as well. I tend to go for stuff that's water soluble, like aloe vera gel. I just kind of work it through my locks like so. I got invited to go to the White House through a nonprofit organization, and I have done content with them for a few years now, actually. I will make content and I'll want help with the research for that content, etc. And they help facilitate that. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all, full disclosure, I was a little disillusioned when I first got the opportunity to go, because I don't know about y'all, but for me, you know, it's like that. It's just that sigh that I just did. It's just like, and it was actually Mr. Hallease who kind of pushed back on that. Like we had some strong conversations about it. You know, in the comments below, let me know how y'all are feeling. Like my major takeaway through the whole thing was what I think sometimes gets lost in the weeds of consuming media from everyone, myself included, consuming things from me. At the end of the day, governments are institutions and they are people. Ideally, it is people trying to create policies that hopefully help the majority of the people of the country. But I think ultimately what happens a lot of times is you get the data, you get the numbers, you try to craft policy around that data and numbers, and you end up helping some and hurting others. And then you go back and you reiterate again. We actually got to talk to some of the different White House like initiatives and the people that are either running those initiatives or are very informed on those initiatives. Some of them, one of them being a woman who's very deep in domestic health. And it was just so fascinating to hear her presentation and then talk to her about like what that actually means on the ground for people. You know, we talk about things like making healthcare more affordable. And part of that is like things like the Affordable Care Act and healthcare.gov and open enrollments and all that kind of stuff. But then also part of that is like transportation. What does it matter if you have Medicare, Medicaid, but you can't actually get to your appointment on time because you have no way of being transported there? One thing I did appreciate was that I could see the passion. Another person that we ended up talking to was an economist at the White House. And I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, I pushed back on him. There have been policy changes that have helped people. So the Inflation Reduction Act, the child tax credit. But at the same time, one thing the economist mentioned was like, yeah, you know, because I mean like the price of big flat screen TVs has gone down. And I'm like, bro, what do flat screen TVs have to do with my rent? Like, what do flat screen TVs have to do with the cost of my groceries? Since my childhood, all I have seen is more and more unhoused people. So the marketing on the economy is thriving needs to change, because what I'm seeing on the ground ain't what the data is showing. I am grateful that I got to go and see my history of my country, for better or worse. You know, I think something that was difficult for me walking through the White House, which by the way, we got to tour, you know, the different color rooms, the blue room, the red room, the green room. But there was a level of like distance I had through the entire tour because I couldn't help but keep remembering and realizing, like, the founding fathers that I see spread through this house, like, I was never supposed to be in there. And that's like the harsh reality of my home country. It wasn't founded with someone like me in mind. Something I will say is that going to the White House really solidified in me how easy it is to become apathetic and to be disillusioned, and how a lot of times our systems are set up to like lean into that apathy and lean into that disillusionment so that you don't participate, so that you don't fight a lot of times the policies that we hear about and see. It just feels like that's happening somewhere over there, you know what I mean? And which is true, but how does that trickle down to you? You can't let the apathy sink in. You actually do have to remain vigilant. Progress happens begrudgingly. I know I've said that in past videos. It doesn't just happen, it happens begrudgingly. It happens like kicking and screaming. You have to drag it with you. Hey y'all, editor me popping in on this video to say what I originally was going to put at this section of the video was talking about making sure you're registered to vote. While I was going to actually go and put that section in through screen recordings, I actually checked to make sure if I was indeed registered to vote. For those of y'all who may not know, I actually moved to Atlanta about a year ago now. And when I first got my Georgia driver's license, I could have sworn up and down, sworn I had said when they asked me, oh, do you want us to go ahead and have you register here while you're getting your driver's license? And I was like, yes. I could have sworn up and down I said yes. But apparently, I was not actually registered. And so shout out to vote.org for being a one-stop shop to check and make sure that you are registered to vote. I know voting is something that is annoying at this present point in time. And you know what, like I said in the video, progress does happen begrudgingly. Voting is one of the few things that you can begrudgingly do. And that is why I really do appreciate vote.org, because it is a one-stop place to not only register to vote, but to make sure you are actually registered, like confirm it on the site. Something I figured I was gonna do in this video was gonna be like, see, vote.org, it's so easy to confirm, and like type my stuff in and blur it and be like, see, I'm registered, wow. And then it was like, actually, girl, you're not. And I was like, well, check your status on vote.org and make sure for real, you're registered. One thing I like about vote.org is that once you check to make sure you're registered, if you're not, apparently, which is neat, they like show you next steps on how to then become registered. So I ended up clicking that. It shot me straight over to the Georgia elections page with the state. I was easily able to register. Took a screen grab of my confirmation because, you know, we got to confirm things. Pause the video right now if you need to. Hop over there. Trust but verify. Okay? Make sure you're registered so you don't get got come November. I can't believe I was really about to be like, oh, I'm registered, tee-hee, tee-hee. Not even in the registrar, not even there. Back to the video though. I think part of pushing past that apathy is figuring out what it means to be involved for you. I know that this is an election year, so we all finna get bombarded bombastically with everything. Do what you gotta do to handle that, whether you want to hear the noise or not, to get engaged in your own liberation. You know what I mean? Whatever that means for you, and not let things just happen to you. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna take my rights, then you're gonna take them with me kicking and screaming. I think going to the White House, going to DC, it just kind of reminded me of like, yeah, can't just talk about it, you gotta be about it, girl. 'Cause How are you balancing this year? You know what I'm saying? Everything's finna be a mess till November. So how are you choosing to engage? One thing I will say is I did put a more in-depth conversation about my trip to the White House and my feelings about it. There is a longer, more in-depth video on my Patreon, patreon.com/Hallease. But again, I'm Hallease, endeavoring to persevere as always. If you're new here, I make videos about my chaotic good life. Subscribe, follow social media, all of the things. See you in the next one. Bye.